Well, welcome to the final teaching of this process, and this one is leading towards your 15-minute speech. If you've been confident, brave, stupid enough, not stupid, to show up and say, yeah, I want to do a 15-minute speech this time. We've been doing these 3-minute shots, but I'm ready for the bigger fish, then let's do it. So I just want to give you a little guidance on how I would say, well, here's the easy way to put that together, based on what you've been doing so far and using the structure that we've been talking about here with the magical speaker mastermind. So there's a piece that is in the workbook that is available for download there, but I'm going to look at the workbook that's from the event that we just did to specifically put this all together, which is what I used to put my 15-minute speech together for the example video that you can see over there. And that is to use the structure. That is to put all of these pieces together and just let it flow. So you have been showing up every week with a 3-minute speech. And maybe you missed a week or two, but then you can fill it in if you need to. But if you've got those speeches, then you could put those together. So that's one way to do this. Obviously, at the beginning, I was like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to speak in a line for, along the same topic every week. But if you did, then it becomes very easy to just piece this all together. So that's really what I did for my example. I just walked through my connect video and then my captivate and then my concrete, my credible, and my conversation. What happened was I was actually taking too long for these things that I had to really crunch these things down towards the end of that. And well, if I prepared better or did it again, I would do that differently. But I wanted to give you an example of what it looks like. So I think for you, this would be the way that I would say you can structure your 15-minute speech, is to max create these things and leave them at a maximum of 3 minutes. 3 minutes to make it connect, 3 minutes to make it captivate, 3 minutes to make it concrete, credible, and then end with that conversation. Now, what would be probably better just for timing to make sure that you can fit in that time is maybe you time these towards that 2.5 minutes for each of these, so that you know that you've got this end time there that is easy with lots of space to deal with. So you already know what, when you've done these 3-minute speeches, how much paper or how much writing that consists of, because you have prepared something to bring to us that has been that 3 minutes. And so when you're thinking, how do I time this stuff? How do I get this right? You actually already have a framework for that. And to keep that together. So you can say like, oh yeah, well actually I guess that was 1.5 pages that I wrote, or that was half a page that I wrote for that 3-minute speech. So, okay, I guess it's half a page per section. So that's going to be 5 sections. It's going to be 2.5 pages total that I can write and read while I speak this thing. There you go. There's a structure that you can start with as you're looking at 2.5 pages, if that's what the timing was. Otherwise, I would say you really want to write on your paper these main headings so that you can just follow the formula here. And how this is going to help you when you are memorizing or going through it. It's not necessarily, let's talk about memorizing. It's not necessarily about memorizing this thing and not showing up with a script. It never has been, right? It's about getting the content out and feeling more confident in it. So if you do this and you start to write your script out, I want you to put these big fat headings on there so that in your brain you're going, okay, I'm done that section. Now I'm moving on to the next section. And that's how you're going to remember those things. Then under each of these, you could actually put like, now I'm sharing values. Now I'm sharing experiences. Now I'm sharing the goals as these subheadings under each of those sections. You could break down your thing that strategically and that categorically so that your brain is actually going through those things, those big ideas, and then sliding your unique thoughts into those. that's something that you can do to help really structure all of this and make sure that you hit the things and hit it in the right order. So as you're forming your 15-minute speech, this, only because it's the framework that we've been using for the last 8 weeks, is a great framework to create a message. Start by making it connect. Give us something that brings us in, that builds trust with us, is really about you and what you're experiencing, then starts to turn the idea towards your main message, and then slip into why this matters for you. Captivate us with your story. A story that you've experienced change like this. What's your one clear story, your desire, the barrier, the clear moment of impact, and then this transformation that you've experienced? Take us through that. And obviously it's going to be quick because we're going to move through the other things and we're going to get into concrete. Okay, so there's a story, but what I'm really talking about is it looks like this. And you give us something concrete to look at, to think about, how is this message really going to stick with us? If you still don't believe me, well, then here's some credibility. I mean, here's some stats to go along with it, but here's the steps I want you to take away. And in my example, again, I was kind of cramming this in because I think I got to this stage, the steps that I wanted to share with you, with like a minute and a half total left to still do the conversation stage. So I was really rushing there, but I still got through the 3 stages of character, script, and performance that I wanted to say. And that's it. You give them that and you say, okay, so now which one stands out to you, or what does that look like as we slip into the conversation here? I can't figure out where I'm at in the camera. As we slip into the conversation, you end with that. Maybe we say something together, we do an action together, and then you sign off with basically starting with how you started. That's a great way to land the plane. So I'm going to end with that here. This is a great framework that you can slide your ideas into, get your main message idea. So mine was about stages. My main message is, the theme of my message is stages. And then you're going to go through and write on this just write a document like this out. Say, okay, connect. Okay, what am I saying to make it connect? And you've already come up with so many good ideas. You can piece this together just like this and start to just Frankenstein your message together so that it becomes a cohesive whole. Then let's talk about the beginning and the end. This is the takeoff and the landing. And we're going to draw a little airplane here. That's a wing. Obviously, that's a wing. And then there's this. See that? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the takeoff is, you guys are very familiar with the takeoffs, but you only need to introduce yourself once and say, hey, my name is Kim, and I'm here to talk about, redefining yourself. My name is Alex, and I'm so excited about sharing about the stages of life with you because I love the stage. So that's this takeoff, and then the takeoff is leaning into this connect piece, and before you know it, you're up in the air and you're cruising. You're cruising as you captivate, and then you're concrete. Ooh, we're looking good, and then we're going to give them some stats, and then we're going to start this descent, and we're going to start to bring the plane down. And people always ask me kind of like, okay, what do I do? How do I end a talk? And as you'll notice here, the same thing happens with the plane. The plane starts on the ground and it ends on the ground. And I like to think of what a pilot would do. Before they take off, they flick all the switches on. When they land, they flick all the switches off. One of the easiest ways to land your plane and land your message is to simply repeat what you've been saying. And so you get to the end and you give them this last thought and idea and action to work through, and then you say, and that is why when you work through your character, your script, and you choose to perform, you will be able to step onto the stage as a speaker and feel confident to step into any stage of your life. It's just a summary of everything that I just talked about. And that's it. That's how we wrap it up and end it so that everybody knows that you're done and we can clap and give you a big standing ovation. So, as you go and you prepare your 15-minute speech after watching this 10-minute teaching video and my own 15-minute speech as an example of that, if you so dare, I'm cheering you on. We're all cheering you on. Remember that. We want you to win. So come, bring your best. You've already impressed us. You've already done enough. You already are enough. You already are a speaker. You don't have to prove anything to us. It's just time to show up, perform, and remember, presence over perfection. That's what matters most. You being present in the moment matters more than if you are perfect with what you say. So excited to see what you bring. Thank you.